Sandiganbayan hands a guilty verdict to incumbent Ilocos Norte Representative Imelda Marcos in GRAFT charges for her financial interests in several foundations created in Switzerland. UNTV exclusive. Several residents complain against the alleged hazardous operation of a concrete batching plant in Taguig City. And President Rodrigo Duterte to fly to Singapore next week for the 33rd ASEAN Summit and related meetings. Good evening. The Sandiganbayan 5th Division orders the arrest of former First Lady and Ilocos Norte 2nd District Representative Imelda Marcos after she was found guilty of 7 counts of GRAFT. Grace Casin tells us why.
Sandiganbayan 5th Division has sentenced Ilocos Norte 2nd District Representative Imelda Marcos to imprisonment of a minimum of 6 years to a maximum of 11 years after she was found guilty of 7 counts of GRAFT. The 89-year-old former First Lady was also perpetually barred by anti-GRAFT court from holding public office. The decision was connected to a case filed in 1991 when Marcos was charged with 10 counts of GRAFT for having financial interests in creating private institutions in Switzerland from 1978 to 1984 while holding several positions in the government. The case particularly referred to Marcos' position as Governor of Metro Manila and Minister of Human Settlements.
Si First Lady Imelda Marcos po ay convicted doon sa mga Swiss accounts, so Swiss foundations. Meron ho kasing 7 Swiss foundations that were created by the Marcoses. Tapos doon pumapasok yung mga foreign currencies. And then they'll close one and then tatransfer nila dun sa isa. Then these 7 Swiss foundations connected po sa isa't isa. Kaya as to the question on how much would be the total, iba-iba ho kasi yung currencies eh. So siguro abot ng mga, kung hindi mga $200 million siguro.
The anti-GRAFT court, however, acquitted her in 3 GRAFT cases. The trial on the case is the longest in the anti-GRAFT court's history, reaching nearly 3 decades or 26 years. In response to the ruling, Akbayan Party List Representative Tom Villarin said Marcos should be arrested and should not be allowed to invoke age nor humanitarian grounds in serving her sentence. The Commission on Human Rights also welcomes the court decision, saying this is a triumph for Filipinos, especially the victims of martial law. Marcos and her legal team did not attend the promulgation. The court says Marcos can post 200,000 peso bail while appealing the conviction. She was given 30 days to explain her absence in the proceedings. If Marcos voluntarily surrenders, the warrant of arrest will be lifted.
Hindi pa ho siya final and executory.
In a statement, Congresswoman Marcos said they are planning to file a motion for reconsideration through her lawyer. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo meanwhile says the decision of the Sandiganbayan should be a reminder to all public servants that public office is a public trust and that they are accountable to the people they served. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The City Environment and Natural Resources Office is set to inspect a concrete batching plant in Wakwak being complained by residents in Taguig City. Aiko Miguel tells us why in this exclusive report.
Residents of Wakwak, Barangay Palingon, Taguig City are complaining against the inconveniences caused by the nearby concrete batching plant in their area. The residents argue that the concrete dust from the plant is causing health problems, especially to children. They worry of worse things to happen if its operation continues. Houses nearby are covered with concrete dust, which makes the residents uncomfortable.
Ayan, super alikabok talaga siya. Ayan. Kahit dyan dito sa terrace namin, yung screener namin, ayan, talagang namumuti siya sa alikabok, ayan, Kahit walisin mo yan, maya-maya yan.
Rosana San Pascual, a resident in the area, argues that aside from respiratory problems, residents also complain of the noise coming from the machines in the plant, which cause sleeping difficulties among them. The peak of the plant's operation is in the evening.
Nagkakasakit na po, ma'am, ang mga anak ko, apo ko, yung kapitbahay namin, talaga namang number 1 hika, alikabok. usok. Yanig ng pag nagja-jackhammer. Nayayanig talaga sila. Puyat.
Also, some houses already have cracks due to the strong shaking of the ground every time the heavy equipment started working.
Ang lakas! Akala mo may bomba. Yung bombang panahon ng gera. Ano bang ginagawa nila sa loob? Bakit bigla na lang parang may bomba bumabagsak? Yun lang naman. Saka parang umugay yung lupa.
O yung halimbawa, nagja-jackhammer sila. Talagang ang bahay is yumuyugyog. Manaramdaman mo na kala mo lindol. Kaya immune na kami rito sa lindol eh. Hindi na namin inaano rin kung ano depression ng lindol.
According to Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, the operator of the batching plant has committed a clear violation when it built the structure near a residential area.
Kung may ganon, health hazard ang tawag dyan. Kung residential yung area, panatiliin residential. And therefore, dapat meron siyang safe distance from manufacturing plants or such as the batching plant. Ibig sabihin, meron violation ng code, ng zoning code.
Secretary Duque advises the public to always wear masks, especially children, to avoid inhaling silica dust particles while the LGU works on the case of the batching plant. According to the head of the barangay, the City Health Office already convened the representatives of the residents and the batching plant last November 6. The plant was already ordered to stop its operation due to lack of some needed permits. However, some residents reported that the plant still continued its operation the night after the hearing.
And then, na-stop na yung operation. Kasi yun nga yung napagkasunduan during the hearing na walang operation mangyayari hanggat hindi lumalabas yung mga requirements na hinihingi sa kanila. Katulad ng ECC, ng LLDA, yun yung mga kulang nilang mga requirements.
Mendiola says his option was to report the incident to the local environment office for immediate action. The City Environment and Natural Resources Office is set to inspect the plant on Saturday, November 10, together with members of the Barangay Health Office and the local officials along with some residents.
Sa mga taga-wakwak doon sa may Panday Creek, na huwag kayong mag-alala at tinututukan naman natin yung mga health issues nyo, yung mga problema nyo doon sa area. At kaagapay naman natin ng local government doon sa problema na yon.
The UNTV news team sought the owner of the plant for comment, but a security personnel said no one was in the office to attend to the team's inquiry. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
The Department of Agriculture warns to penalize traders and retailers who violate the implemented suggested retail price for rice. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Officials from the National Food Authority made rounds in local markets in Metro Manila to make sure that suggested retail price for rice is being implemented. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol says those who will refuse to abide by the SRP will receive a written warning for the first offense, while the second offense will warrant fines or sanctions. Violators will be ordered to pay 2,000 to 1 million pesos in fines and may be imprisoned from 2 months to 1 year for violating the Price Act.
No, it's a written warning. That's the first step. The second would be penalties na. Cancellation of license, penalties under the Price Act, pati yung criminal liability.
Wala ka nang ganong kita, magpe-penalty ka pa. E di syempre, sumunod ka na lang sa dapat iatas nila.
Authorities also visited the Trabajo Market in Manila where rice variants are noticeably labeled according to color. White is for regular and well-milled rice sold at 40 to 44 pesos per kilogram. Yellow is for premium rice sold at 45 to 47 pesos, while blue is for special rice which is not among those with SRP.
Maganda yung may suggested. Siyempre, mababaano nila, isipin nila bago sila punta ng palengke. May alam na nila, nasa utak nila kung ano magkano yung magiging gastos nila.
Labeling of fancy rice such as Senandoming, Double Diamond, and Super Angelica has been prohibited because there is no such varieties of rice according to Piñol.
Lang yung ibang customer namin, syempre nalilito na, so kailangan namin ipapaliwanag muna.
Retailers also note that the price of commercial rice already went down to the price range of 100 to 150 pesos per sack. Piñol plans to tap the Philippine National Police to join in their market inspections. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
President Rodrigo Duterte is set to fly to Singapore for the 33rd ASEAN Summit and related meetings next week. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte, together with other leaders of ASEAN member states and dialogue partners, will meet in Singapore from November 13 to 15 for the 33rd ASEAN Summit and related meetings. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, several topics will be discussed during the summit, such as infrastructure development, economic integration, Korean Peninsula, South China Sea, and transnational and transboundary issues, including terrorism, violent extremism, illicit drugs, and others. The leaders will also hold the second summit on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP. RCEP is the free trade agreement between Australia, China, Japan, India, New Zealand, South Korea, and 10 ASEAN member states.
We were hoping that the RCEP would be concluded by the time of the summit, but it seems that we'll have to wait a little bit longer. During the summit, the leaders would express their commitment to conclude the negotiations, because this is very important for the region, especially in view of the rising trade developments, tensions, unilateral actions. And we expect the leaders to call for the expeditious conclusion of the RCEP.
The latest developments on the talks regarding the West Philippine Sea dispute are also expected to be brought out during the meeting. The Philippines is in charge with a coordinatorship on ASEAN-China Dialogue Partnership this year until 2021.
And we are quite sure that the South China Sea, as I've mentioned before, would be one of those regional developments that would be taken up in the summit. As to the detail of the discussions, I cannot say, but for sure there's going to be discussion on the South China Sea.
The Philippines is in charge with a coordinatorship on ASEAN-China Dialogue Partnership this year until 2021. Leaders are expected to release outcome documents after the summits. DFA says 4 to 5 leaders have requested to meet with President Duterte on the sidelines of ASEAN Summit. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang will attend the ASEAN Summit, but U.S. President Donald Trump will skip the meeting because, according to reports, he is set to travel to Paris to attend the 100th commemoration of armistice that ended the World War I. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence will represent him. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
President Duterte blames the communist rebels for the death of a lawyer involved in the case of a slain Sagay sugarcane farmers amid accusations that he had a hand in the killing. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte defended his administration against accusations of involvement in the murder of human rights lawyer Ben Ramos. Ramos was among the founding members of the National Union of People's Lawyers, a group of lawyers who provide legal assistance to victims of human rights violations. Ramos was also among the lawyers who were helping the families of the slain sugarcane farmers in Sagay City, Negros Occidental. The president said there is no reason for his government to do such a crime.
But in the process, killing people, and including yung abogado nila, kami pa ang pagbibintangan ang gobyerno. What the f***? Why would I kill a lawyer? Napaka-small time ganyan naman. Why would I assassinate him? For what?
Instead, the president blamed the communist rebels as those behind the murder of the lawyer and the Sagay farmers.
Nung nalaman ng komunista, sumali rin sila at kinakipaggusto nila ang kanilang land reform. Kitenant ka o hindi, papasok sila, then they will invite others to join the fray.
He, however, assured that land grabbers will not prevail under his administration.
Whether you have a lawyer or not, you cannot occupy somebody else's land by force and intimidation. I will not allow it. Pag pumasok kayo, may orders to the police and the military, evict them. Evict them out physically, and if they choose to fight, kill them.
Ramos was shot dead by still unidentified gunmen in Cabancalan, Negros Occidental last Tuesday evening. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Music producer Junji Marcelo is ready to cover the singing gems of the National Capital Region. John Nano tells us why.
The second season of the country's biggest online singing competition, Wishcovery, is airing this November. Returning this year as songwriter and Wishcoverer is Wishcovery Season 1 resident reactor Junji Marcelo. Junji is the composer of Wishcovery's theme song, Discovered. According to Junji, he's looking for someone unique to represent his camp, the National Capital Region, and sing his new song.
So I don't want another Morissette or another Lalo Misalucha, another Zia or another whoever or another Jonah. Kasi sila na yun. I want somebody who would emerge na siya mismo. At dadalhin niya yung kanta.
Junji says the second season is a different experience from the first one, describing the Wishcoveries this year as fortunate.
Most of the singers out there do not have the luxury of working with a music producer and a songwriter. Ang maganda, simula pa lang ng karir nila, meron ng gumagwardya sa kanila kung paano sila pupunta, ano yung direction.
Catch Camp Junji on Wishcovery Season 2, the singer and the song this November on Wish 1075 YouTube channel. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Angelo Castro III and William Thio after this quick break. I'm Rheena Villamor-Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rheena Villamor-Camara left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. Filipino-American college student among the 12 people killed in a California bar shooting. Telcos disqualified from the third telco bidding submit motions for reconsideration at the National Telecommunications Commission. And the oil firms seen to slash pump prices next week. The FBI and Ventura County Police believe that the gunman in California bar shooting that killed over a dozen people acted alone. The gunman, identified as a former Marine officer, was said to be suffering from poor mental health. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
A Filipino-American college student was among the 12 people killed in the horrific shooting inside a bar in Thousand Oaks, California on Wednesday night, the Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles said. Elena Punzalan Housley, 18 years old, was a freshman from Pepperdine University who was among those killed in the shooting incident that occurred inside the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, about 40 miles west of Los Angeles. Elena's aunt, Tamara Maury Housley, the Real host and Sister star, posted on her Facebook that her heart breaks because of the tragedy. The gunman was identified as a 28-year-old former Marine named Ian David Long, said Ventura County Sheriff Jeff Dean. Authorities believe the gunman shot himself after carrying out the killing spree at a bar in the city. Dean said his department had made contact with Long several times over the years, including a call to his home in April when it was believed he may have been suffering from poor mental health.
In April of this year, deputies were called to his house for a subject disturbing. They went to the house, they talked to him. He was somewhat irate, acting a little irrationally. They called out our crisis intervention team, our mental health specialist, who met with him, talked to him, and cleared him, didn't feel that he was qualified to be taken under 5150, and he was left at that scene last April.
According to witnesses at the scene, before opening fire with a handgun, the shooter threw a smoke grenade into the bar, which was hosting a college night. One witness said some of the young people in the bar had also been present during the mass shooting at a Las Vegas music festival last October, which left 58 dead. Paul Delacorte, assistant director in charge of the Los Angeles FBI, told a news conference that it was too early to speculate on the gunman's motives, but that he appeared to have acted alone.
It would be premature for me to speculate on the motivation, but I can assure you that we will follow all the leads that are developed through witness interviews, evidence recovery, the forensic evidence, any digital media that we recover, and we will be sure to paint a picture of the state of mind of the subject and do our best to identify a motivation.
The palace offers its heartfelt thoughts and prayers to the families of those who perished in the latest U.S. mass shooting. The United States has one of the highest gun-related death tolls in the world due to lax gun control laws, according to a study released in August by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
One day before the deadline, the two disqualified telcos filed a motion for reconsideration to qualify as a new major player in the country. Mon Ocson will tell us why.
Sear Telecom and local telco PT&T filed earlier a motion for reconsideration after they were disqualified in the bidding process last Wednesday. This is in response with the terms of reference of the selection process that they can appeal within 3 days. PT&T said that they have withdrawn the case filed at the Makati Regional Trial Court and filed their motion for reconsideration that the NTC told them. PT&T was disqualified because it failed to present a certificate of technical capability, which is a requirement on the bidding process.
Basically, we're giving compelling arguments why we should be brought back into the bid, that we have very good argument of why we should participate again and give us our certification that we have been asking for.
Sear Telecom, a consortium of the group of former Governor Luis Chavez Singson and China Telecom, also filed their motion. According to the selection committee, a letter of credit for the 700 million pesos participation security is missing in their bidding documents. Singson brought a manager's check amounting to 700 million pesos to prove that they are compliant and ready. Singson also explained their argument on the alleged misleading acts of Mindanao Islamic Telecom, or Mislatel, regarding its commercial franchise to operate. Singson said Mislatel has a binding agreement with DigiFil, a subsidiary of Tier 1, which is part of the consortium of the group of Singson. Singson's camp will file a case against Mislatel in the coming days.
Ang Mislatel, binili lang ang public and NTC. Dahil nakapirma sa amin eh. Kumbaga sa pag-asawa, nakipag-asawa ulit, nakapirma na sa amin eh. So parang naglaro sila ng apoy. Masusunog po sila dyan.
NTC said they will be able to release a resolution on the motion for reconsideration next week. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Senator Gringo Honasan has accepted the offer of President Rodrigo Duterte to head the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or the ICT. In a statement, Honasan said his decision was in support of the Duterte administration's effort to provide better service for the benefit of the Filipino people. Duterte has earlier confirmed that he invited Honasan to join his cabinet to help the administration. Malacanang is confident that Honasan will be able to accomplish the administration's objectives in the agency, especially now that the government has already chosen the country's provisional third telco player. Honasan's term in Congress will expire on June 30, 2019. The blaze that hit an armory of the Philippine Navy is in Sangli Point, Cavite, has already been declared fire out this morning, but firefighters are yet to approach and inspect the damaged arms depot. Aileen Cerudo tells us why.
A fire raised the armory of the Philippine Navy in Naval Base Heraclio Alano in Sangley Point, Cavite early Friday morning. The blaze hit the igloo number 8, housing ammunition for M16 rifles, 45 caliber pistols, and smoke grenades. According to a naval official, the fire began around 5 a.m. and was extinguished at past 7 in the morning. But members of the Bureau of Fire Protection have yet to approach and inspect the damaged facility due to the possibility of explosion, according to Philippine Navy Public Information Officer Lieutenant Commander James Reyes.
This is not any ordinary sunog ng bahay na pwede mo kagad siyang i-approach kasi hindi po natin malaman kung kailan po may sasabog pa. Kapag na-ensure na po natin na safe na po or okay na po lahat, pwede na pong makapasok yung emergency responder.
No injuries and deaths were reported in the incident because naval personnel, vessels, and residents around the arms depot were immediately evacuated. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of the incident. Aileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue.
Police Director General Oscar Albayalde visits the Philippine National Police Academy amid the sexual harassment issue involving 3 upperclassmen and 2 freshman cadets. Victor Cosare explains why.
Philippine National Police Director General Oscar Albayalde visited the PNP Academy today to speak with the cadets. This is amid the sexual harassment scandal that saw the relief of the Academy's director, Chief Superintendent Joseph Adnol. Adnol was replaced by Chief Superintendent Chiquito Malayo. Albayalde said he discussed the oral sex issue with the more than 1,000 plebs to raise their morale and to ensure that such incident will not be repeated. Last October 6, 2 freshman cadets filed a complaint against 3 upperclassmen for allegedly ordering them to perform oral sex as punishment.
Pinamukha natin sa kanila at sinabi na talagang hindi naman pwedeng itolerate yung mga ganyang bagay. At we also gave some inspirational words sa kanila.
An investigation on the incident is ongoing and complaints have already been filed against the respondents.
It was already filed in court. File na ng criminal yung second-class cadets at yung naman nila ongoing na.
The newly appointed PNPA director, meanwhile, hopes that cadets will religiously observe their honor code and abide by the Academy's policies.
They have to prioritize their time by studying their lessons, obey rules and regulations, and observe the honor code.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine National Police is looking into the case of a police official who was critically injured after he was shot by an unidentified gunman in Quezon City on Thursday. Lea Ilagan tells us why.
A police officer is being treated in a hospital after sustaining critical injuries when he was shot by an unidentified assailant in Tatalon Village, Quezon City on Thursday night. The official, identified as Superintendent Edgardo Carriazo, is assigned at the Planning and Research Division of the Internal Affairs Service or IAS in Camp Crame. The IAS is the branch of the PNP that investigates complaints against cops. Initial investigation shows that shooting incident occurred past 7 p.m. and based on the CCTV footage, Carriazo just alighted from his vehicle when a lone gunman approached him and started shooting. According to PNP Director General Oscar Albayalde, the incident might be linked to reports that Carriazo was involved in the narcotics trade.
Lumalabas as per verification ay nasa watchlist siya. Yun ang lumalabas. It's probably yung watchlist, hindi natin alam kung yan ay watchlist ng the whole yung tinatawag na PRRD watchlist, no? Sa amin sa PNP, if I'm not mistaken, mahigit 1,000 yung nasa watchlist namin. The whole country yon, mahigit 1,000 yan.
But IAS Inspector General Attorney Alfigar Triambulo says Carriazo's name is not in the narco list of President Rodrigo Duterte. Their division also does not accept members with tainted record. Triambulo, however, assures they will look into Carriazo's alleged involvement in illegal activities. The IAS chief also says Carriazo confided to him that he was receiving death threats 3 weeks prior to the shooting incident.
Dahil ako din ay maraming threat, kaya ako'y during staff meeting sa kanila, yung mga senior officers dito, sinasabi ko na marami din ako. Siguro 3 weeks ago, nag-confide din siya na meron din siya. Na ganun, kaya worried nga din siya.
Triambulo adds that Carriazo is among his officers who do not shy away from extra work hours when they are investigating complaints against road cops.
Wala pong masabi, siya ay masipag at siya ay marunong. At siya po ay nag-extra ng work kahit Sabado at Linggo. Holiday, nakikita ko siya dyan. Kasi marami akong requirement sa kanila. Sa ngayon. Dahil nga ito'y pinatibay namin ang IAS at siniseryoso natin itong internal cleansing.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Office of the Civil Defense officially terminates the massive search and retrieval operations in the landslide hit Natonin town in Mountain Province. Robbie de Guzman explains why.
The Office of the Civil Defense Cordillera Region has turned over to the local government of Natonin the search effort in the landslide-stricken Sitio Hakrang in Habawel Village. This is after the OCD terminated the national-level search and retrieval operations involving various government agencies and volunteer groups. Since Tuesday, rescuers were unable to find any more bodies from the ground zero. A total of 17 bodies were retrieved after almost 2 weeks of digging, while 11 people remained missing. According to Natonin Mayor Mateo Chiawan, over 300 aid workers from nearby towns will remain at the site to continue searching for the missing victims. Several teams of emergency responders have been working at the ground zero, where a massive landslide hit and caused the collapse of the building of the Department of Public Works and Highways in Cordillera during the onslaught of Typhoon Rosita.
Officially terminated ngayon ang massive search at tinurn over ng overall in charge ng search and rescue operation na be engaged by CD, headed by General Imbang. We will assume the continuation purely under the management of the local government unit in coordination with ina-update ba namin ang OCD. So kung may mga assistance na kailangan ng mga nagse-search pa, we try to force it through OCD in a form of request.
The local government also vows to extend financial assistance worth 20,000 pesos for each family of missing victims. The landslide in Habawel Village is only one of the more than 100 landslide incidents reported in Natonin when Typhoon Rosita pummeled the mountain province last month.
Karamihan yung hindi na safe ang mga waters namin dito. Karamihan na-slide lahat yung mga water system namin. Yun ang isang nakita kong medyo kulang kasi yung mga dinadala ng DSWD hindi kasama ang mga potable water. Maybe okay siguro ang bigas pero minsan kailangan din yung mga nagtatrabaho.
Robbie de Guzman, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Survivors and families released dozens of sky lanterns on Thursday for those who died during Typhoon Yolanda's onslaught in November 8, 2013. The simple ceremony was part of Tacloban City's 5th year of commemoration of the tragedy caused by the superstorm. Before the releasing of the sky lanterns, residents lighted thousands of candles on the streets of the city. More than 2,000 city residents were killed during the typhoon's onslaught in the city, and 600 more remained missing. Meanwhile, climate change advocates Greenpeace opposed the use of sky lanterns as it has negative impact on our environment by littering streams, lakes, and especially our seas. According to environmental warriors, several countries had already banned the releasing of sky lanterns. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority explains their guidelines against illegal parking on major thoroughfares in Metro Manila. Joan Nano will tell us why.
Illegally parked vehicles are among the primary causes of the worsening traffic situation in Metro Manila. The Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, is the government agency tasked to eliminate road obstructions to assure free flow of traffic.
Sa national roads, particularly sa mga main thoroughfares natin, mabuhay lanes, two-way zones talaga yan. So, ibig sabihin that in any time na pwedeng mag-park dyan. So, pag naabutan kayo ng mga enforcers, they will conduct yung anti-illegal parking operations.
Under the rules of the MMDA, illegally parked vehicles have two classifications, the attended and unattended vehicles. If the vehicle is attended and the traffic law enforcers caught the vehicle is illegally parked along a major thoroughfare, the driver will be issued a violation ticket.
Pag may driver, titikitan ka lang. So, wala tayong 5 minutes doon. So, ibig sabihin, once na dumapag na enforcer, nakita ka nakapark dyan, naka-hazard ka man or whatnot, titikitan ka.
But if the clearing team arrives and the vehicle is unattended, the MMDA will allot 5 minutes extension before they tow the vehicle. If the driver arrives in less than 5 minutes, he will be issued a violation ticket. But if the driver failed to appear after 5 minutes, the MMDA will tow the vehicle. The MMDA also reminds motorists about their strict implementation of the no loading and unloading policy on major thoroughfares in Metro Manila. In EDSA, for example, the MMDA allows vehicles to load and unload passenger only in designated zones.
Di ba na-process natin, daming loading and unloading zone, di ba? Doon ka na talaga authorized mag-load and unload. Kapag nag-load ka na di-loading zone yan, you'll be charged accordingly. Legal parking yun.
Even if the vehicles of establishments along major roads are also prohibited to load and unload their passengers even in front of their offices, they will only be allowed if they have a private parking slot where they can park the vehicle and drop the passenger.
Pero kung building ninyo, merong talaga enough space, sakto lang, ba't namin kayo pipigilan? Diba? That is your property after all. But if it is a public property, doon ay pinagbabawal. Pero kung private property, wala tayong problema.
On the other hand, the MMDA assures that all vehicles loading and unloading their passengers in a designated area are monitored and will be issued a violation ticket through their no-contact apprehension policy. And since the holiday season is approaching, the MMDA assures that they will intensify their clearing operations to assure free flow of traffic. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Up next on Y News. One dead and several people injured in a stabbing incident in Melbourne, Australia. Homes evacuated as wildfire near Los Angeles burns thousands of acres. And the United States government proposes rule banning asylum for illegal migrants. And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo, Castro III. Good evening.